mindset creates destiny, and this is not just a motivational statement. It is a universal law that quietly governs every outcome in life. Every person walking this earth carries within them an invisible map, and that map is drawn entirely by their thoughts. What you think about yourself, about your abilities, about the world and the opportunities around you, becomes the very blueprint upon which your life is constructed. People often believe that destiny is a matter of chance, that it is written somewhere beyond their control. But the truth is that destiny is shaped, formed, and molded by the quality of your thinking. A rich mindset looks at the exact same circumstances that a poor mindset sees, but interprets them in a completely different way. That interpretation, that shift in perspective, creates two entirely different lives, even though the external situation might appear identical. Consider two individuals who both face a financial setback. One person, guided by a poor mindset, says, "This always happens to me. I can never get ahead. I am stuck and I'll never succeed." Those thoughts immediately close the door to creative ideas, to resilience, to new solutions. They create an emotional state of defeat, and from that state, the person makes choices that continue the cycle of lack. Meanwhile, another person, standing in the same storm, guided by a rich mindset, says, "This is temporary. There is a lesson here. I will find a way, and this challenge will make me stronger." Instantly, the mind opens, searching for possibilities, scanning for opportunities, attracting people and resources that align with persistence and growth. The circumstances were the same, but the mindset shaped a different future. When you look at history, innovation, business, and even personal lives, the dividing line between those who rise and those who remain stuck is not their education, their background, or even their starting point. It is the internal narrative that dominates their daily thinking. The rich mindset tells a story of potential, a story of progress, a story of expansion, and that story begins to create conditions in reality to match it. The poor mindset, on the other hand, recycles the same narrative of doubt, of fear, of limitation, and life simply reflects back the script it is being given. If you continuously affirm lack, your subconscious will accept it as truth and filter your actions accordingly. If you continuously affirm abundance and possibility, your subconscious begins to believe it and align your actions to manifest it. Destiny is not written in some distant book. It is written every morning when you wake up and begin thinking. Your first thoughts of the day set the tone for the hours ahead. If you wake up with thoughts of gratitude, ambition, and vision, you carry yourself differently. You see opportunities where others see problems, and you move with energy that attracts success. If you wake up with thoughts of worry, resentment, and defeat, you carry yourself in a way that shuts doors, makes excuses, and misses the very chances that could change everything. The mindset is the seed, and destiny is simply the fruit that grows from it. Every invention, every breakthrough, every great achievement in human history started as a thought in someone's mind. The airplane was once just a thought. The light bulb was once just a thought. The technology you hold in your hands today was once just a thought. The person who held that thought did not allow the poor mindset of doubt to choke it. Instead, they nurtured it with belief, persistence, and vision until the invisible became visible. This is the essence of how mindset creates destiny. The poor mindset would have said, "It is impossible, it cannot be done, who am I to try?" The rich mindset said, "If I can think it, I can find a way. If it exists in my imagination, it can exist in reality. That simple difference in thinking created the world we live in today. Your environment may influence you, your circumstances may challenge you, but they do not determine your future. What determines your future is the interpretation you give to them, and that interpretation is born out of your mindset. Two children can grow up in the same household, under the same roof, with the same struggles. One child may decide, because of these struggles, I will never escape this life, while the other may decide, because of these struggles, I will rise, I will break the chain, I will rewrite the story. Their environment was the same, but their mindset directed them toward entirely different destinies. The mind is like a magnet, constantly pulling toward it whatever thoughts dominate its field. If your dominant thoughts are lack, fear, and impossibility, you are magnetizing circumstances that mirror those states. If your dominant thoughts are abundance, creativity, and growth, you are magnetizing circumstances that align with expansion. This is why mindset is not just an accessory to success, it is the very foundation. Without a strong mindset, opportunities pass unnoticed. Without a strong mindset, ideas die before they are acted upon. Without a strong mindset, even success when it comes cannot be sustained because the inner world is not aligned with holding it. Changing your destiny begins not with changing the world outside, but with changing the world inside. The outside will always rearrange itself to reflect the patterns of the inside. If you begin to think in terms of possibility instead of limitation, if you begin to think in terms of what you can do instead of what you cannot, if you begin to think in terms of opportunity instead of obstacles, the very fabric of your life will start to shift. It is not instant, but it is inevitable. The person who disciplines their thinking, who plants seeds of abundance daily, who waters those seeds with belief and gratitude, will eventually reap a harvest that others call luck or destiny. But it was never luck, it was mindset shaping destiny, thought carving the path that action then walked upon. Every thought carries an energy, and that energy radiates outward, shaping the very circumstances of your life. Thoughts are not silent whispers trapped in your mind. They are vibrations, frequencies that influence how you feel, how you act, and ultimately what you attract. When you dwell in negative thoughts, when fear, doubt, and worry dominate your inner conversation, your entire being begins to vibrate on a lower level. That low vibration pulls you into experiences that reflect it, situations that validate the energy you are carrying. On the other hand, when you hold thoughts of faith, gratitude, abundance, and possibility, you elevate your vibration. That higher energy aligns you with ideas, people, and opportunities that resonate with growth and success. The world is not responding to what you want. It is responding to the energy of your dominant thoughts. Imagine walking into a room where someone has been arguing, angry, and filled with tension. You can feel it before they even say a word. Their energy lingers in the space. Now imagine stepping into the presence of someone who is joyful, excited, and passionate. That energy is contagious, and it begins to shift how you feel almost instantly. This is proof that energy is real and that thoughts, because they create emotion, carry measurable energy. You are constantly broadcasting a signal through your thoughts, and that signal either attracts or repels what you desire. A poor mindset broadcasts fear and lack, and as a result, life delivers more of the same. A rich mindset broadcasts confidence, expectation, and gratitude, and life reflects those qualities right back. Most people are unaware of the power their thoughts hold. They believe thoughts are private, fleeting, and without consequence. But your subconscious mind is listening to every thought, taking it as instruction, and creating feelings and actions to match. When you think, "I can't do this, I'll never make it," your subconscious translates that into feelings of discouragement and hesitation. Those feelings then influence your behavior. You procrastinate, you quit too soon, you avoid risks. The outer result looks like failure, but the true cause was the thought energy you allowed to dominate. When you think, "I will find a way, I always figure things out," your subconscious translates that into feelings of confidence and determination. Those feelings push you into action, into persistence, into creative solutions. The outer result looks like success, but the true cause again was the thought energy you allowed to dominate. Your feelings are a direct reflection of the thoughts you choose to entertain. If you are feeling low, stuck, or hopeless, it is not because of your circumstances. It is because of the thoughts you are choosing in response to those circumstances. The instant you choose a new thought, your feelings begin to shift, and as your feelings shift, your energy shifts. People often try to change their lives by forcing new actions without addressing the root cause. But unless the energy of their thinking changes, the action cannot sustain results. Energy always comes first. Action follows naturally. Think about a time when you were deeply excited about an idea. You could hardly sleep, your mind was buzzing, your body felt alive with energy. That state made you bold, made you creative, made you unstoppable. You didn't need someone to motivate you to act, because the energy of your thoughts propelled you forward. Now think about a time when you felt hopeless, drained by negative thinking. Even small tasks felt heavy, and opportunities slipped by because your energy wasn't aligned with taking them. Both experiences were created by the energy of your thoughts, and both produced entirely different outcomes. The law of attraction is often misunderstood, but at its core it is simply the recognition that like attracts like. High energy thoughts attract high energy results. Low energy thoughts attract low energy results. This is why two people can walk into the same room with the same qualifications, yet one walks out with the opportunity while the other does not. The difference wasn't talent or luck. It was the energy they carried into the interaction. People can sense when you believe in yourself, when your energy is confident and positive. They are also repelled by desperation, fear, and negativity, even if you never say a word. Your thoughts are like tuning a radio. If you tune into a frequency of worry and doubt, that is the music you will hear, and it will play all day long in every aspect of your life. If you tune into a frequency of abundance, gratitude, and vision, that is the music you will hear, and it will guide your decisions and draw in harmonies that match it. The choice of frequency is entirely yours, and with discipline, you can retune it at any moment. Negative feelings are not enemies. They are indicators, feedback that you are thinking thoughts that do not serve you. They are a signal that your energy has dropped and needs to be raised. The way to raise it is to deliberately shift your thinking. Gratitude is one of the fastest ways to do this. When you focus on what is working, what is good, what is already present in your life, your energy rises instantly. Another way is to hold a vision of your future so clear that it excites you, because that excitement raises your vibration. The more you practice choosing thoughts that generate higher energy, the more natural it becomes, and soon your dominant vibration is one of confidence and abundance. Every transformation begins with energy, and energy always begins with thought. What you habitually think about is the energy you are projecting, and what you project is what you attract. You cannot think poor thoughts and live a rich life. You cannot dwell on fear and create courage. You cannot soak in doubt and produce success. But the moment you commit to disciplining your thoughts, to elevating your energy, to choosing a higher frequency of thinking, you begin to change the entire course of your life. Abundance and scarcity are not conditions of the world. They are conditions of the mind. Two people can look at the same environment, the same resources, the same circumstances, and yet one will see opportunity everywhere while the other only sees limitation. The rich mindset is grounded in the belief that there is more than enough, that growth is always possible, and that opportunities are infinite. The poor mindset is trapped in the belief that life is a zero-sum game, that if someone else wins they must lose, that resources are limited, and that there is never enough to go around. This fundamental difference in thinking creates completely different emotional states, decisions, and outcomes. When someone lives in a scarcity mindset, they approach life from fear. They hesitate to share, they hesitate to take risks, they hesitate to dream bigger, because deep down they believe that there is not enough to sustain them if something goes wrong. This mindset keeps people small, defensive, and constantly comparing themselves to others. They see another person's success and interpret it as proof of their own failure. They see competition everywhere and feel threatened rather than inspired. They view money as something difficult to earn and quick to disappear. Their thoughts constantly circle around lack, and so lack becomes the pattern of their life. The abundance mindset, on the other hand, is expansive. It operates from trust, from faith that more is always available, that resources multiply when used with creativity and intention, that opportunities are endless for the person who is willing to see them. The person with an abundant mindset celebrates the success of others because they believe that another person's achievement opens doors for them as well. They collaborate, they give, they share ideas freely, because they understand that what you give returns multiplied. They see competition not as a threat, but as inspiration, a push to raise their own standards. They view money as energy that flows in and out, and because they trust in its flow, they handle it with confidence rather than fear. The difference between abundance and scarcity is visible even in small, everyday choices. A person with scarcity thinking might hold on to every dollar with a tight fist, afraid to invest in themselves, afraid to risk in their business, afraid to give. This tightness creates stagnation, and stagnation keeps them in the same place year after year. A person with abundance thinking is willing to invest in personal growth, willing to try new ventures, willing to give generously because they trust that what they release will return. That openness creates circulation, and circulation brings expansion. Just as water becomes stagnant when it does not flow, money and opportunities stagnate for the person who clings to them in fear. But when they flow freely, they create freshness and growth. The poor mindset measures life in terms of what can be lost. Every decision is filtered through the fear of losing something: time, money, status, approval. The rich mindset measures life in terms of what can be gained. Every decision is filtered through possibility. How can this help me grow? What can I learn here? What new doors can this open? This simple but powerful shift transforms the way a person sees the world. One is constantly shrinking, retreating, and resisting. The other is constantly expanding, exploring, and creating. Scarcity thinking often comes from conditioning. Many grow up hearing phrases like "money doesn't grow on trees," "we can't afford that," or "you should be grateful for what little you have." Over time, these phrases plant beliefs that resources are limited and hard to attain. These beliefs then harden into patterns of fear and hesitation in adulthood. Abundance thinking also requires conditioning, but of a different kind. It requires feeding the mind with ideas of possibility, surrounding yourself with examples of success, and training yourself daily to focus on what is present rather than what is missing. It is not about ignoring reality, but about choosing which reality to magnify with your attention. An abundant mindset is not reckless optimism, it is intelligent faith. It looks at challenges and asks, where is the hidden opportunity? What can I build from this? It understands that setbacks are temporary and that failure is feedback. Scarcity thinking sees the same challenges and says, "This is the end. There is no way forward. I must protect myself." One opens doors, the other closes them. One expands vision, the other narrows it. One multiplies resources, the other depletes them. When you observe people who have built lasting wealth, not just financial wealth, but wealth in relationships, health, and purpose, you will notice that they carry an abundant perspective. They are solution-oriented. They believe there is always a way. They see opportunities where others see dead ends. Their abundance mindset allows them to persist longer, to experiment more, to attract others who want to collaborate and grow. On the opposite side, those who remain trapped in scarcity often sabotage themselves, quitting too early, distrusting others, hoarding rather than circulating, and constantly reinforcing the belief that life is unfair. Abundance and scarcity are not measured by the balance in your bank account. You can have very little money and still think abundantly, and you can have millions and still think in scarcity. Abundance is a way of seeing, not a level of income. A person with little but who thinks abundantly will attract opportunities, relationships, and ideas that expand their life. A person with wealth but who thinks in scarcity will live in fear of losing it, constantly anxious, never satisfied, and unable to truly enjoy what they have. The mindset determines whether wealth grows or diminishes, whether opportunities multiply or disappear, whether a life expands or contracts. Overcoming negative feelings begins with awareness, because you cannot change what you are not aware of. Most people move through life reacting automatically to their emotions without realizing that those emotions are not random. They are the product of thoughts that were entertained long enough to create a state of being. Fear, doubt, worry, anger, resentment, and guilt are not permanent residents of the mind. They are guests invited in by the thoughts we allow to dominate. The first step in overcoming them is to recognize when they appear and trace them back to their source. Every negative feeling can be connected to a thought, and every thought can be replaced with a better one. This practice is what separates those who remain trapped in cycles of negativity from those who rise above them and build a new reality. When you allow a negative feeling to take root, it lowers your energy, clouds your judgment, and distorts your perception of what is possible. A person weighed down by fear begins to see only the risks, ignoring the opportunities. A person caught in anger narrows their vision and reacts in ways that push away support. A person living in worry attracts more reasons to worry because their attention is constantly scanning for danger. The rich mindset understands that these feelings are not to be ignored but to be transformed. Transformation requires discipline to catch the thought that caused the feeling, and discipline to replace it with a thought aligned with the future you want to create. One of the most powerful tools for shifting out of negative feelings is gratitude. Gratitude is not just a polite gesture, it is a state of mind that immediately changes the vibration of your entire being. When you deliberately focus on what is working, what is good, what you have already accomplished, you shift the energy away from lack and onto abundance. Worry cannot live in the same space as gratitude, because gratitude brings the awareness that you already have more than enough. Fear cannot dominate a mind filled with gratitude, because gratitude affirms that life is on your side. Resentment fades when gratitude is present, because gratitude acknowledges the value of every experience, even the challenging ones. Another way to overcome negative feelings is to hold a vision that excites you. A strong vision acts like a compass, pulling you forward even when temporary emotions try to drag you down. When you are deeply connected to an inspiring goal, moments of doubt and worry lose their power because you are anchored to something greater than the present discomfort. The rich mindset uses vision as fuel, revisiting it daily, visualizing it with detail, and reminding themselves why it matters. This process creates an emotional state of anticipation, and anticipation dissolves fear. The poor mindset, in contrast, allows temporary feelings to dictate their actions, abandoning their vision at the first sign of discomfort. Discipline is the bridge between negative feelings and freedom. Without discipline, the mind runs on autopilot, replaying the same fearful thoughts day after day. With discipline, you stop the pattern and redirect it. This does not happen overnight. It is a practice that requires repetition. At first, replacing a negative thought feels unnatural, even forced, but the mind learns through repetition, and what is repeated becomes familiar. Over time, the new thoughts create new feelings, and the new feelings create new actions. Just as a muscle grows through consistent training, mental strength grows through consistent discipline. It is important to understand that negative feelings are not evil, they are feedback. They are signals that you are thinking in a way that does not serve you. If you touch a hot stove, the pain is feedback that tells you to move your hand. In the same way, if you feel fear, doubt, or resentment, it is feedback that you are focusing on limitation instead of possibility. The moment you notice the feedback, you have a choice. Continue to feed the feeling with more negative thoughts, or shift your attention to thoughts that align with growth. That choice, repeated daily, is how you overcome negativity and rewire your emotional patterns. Breath and awareness play a role as well. When a wave of negative emotion hits, the body responds physically: tightness in the chest, shallow breathing, tension in the muscles. This physical state reinforces the mental state, creating a loop. By pausing, breathing deeply, and bringing awareness to the body, you break the loop and create space to choose a new thought. In that space, you can redirect the mind toward gratitude, vision, or possibility. The poor mindset rushes blindly with the emotion, while the rich mindset pauses, breathes, and redirects. Replacing negative feelings also requires surrounding yourself with influences that lift you. Your environment has a powerful effect on your emotional state. If you are constantly surrounded by people who complain, doubt, and criticize, their energy feeds your negative feelings. If you immerse yourself in environments of growth, books, mentors, conversations, communities that focus on solutions, your mind absorbs that energy and naturally leans toward positivity. This is why successful people guard their environment carefully. They know that overcoming negativity is not just an internal battle, but also an external choice of who and what they allow into their space. Daily rituals play a significant role in building resilience against negative emotions. Practices like journaling, affirmations, meditation, or visualization are not luxuries. They are tools to train the mind. By writing down your thoughts, you become aware of patterns that create negative feelings. By repeating affirmations, you impress the subconscious with new beliefs. By meditating, you create space between thought and reaction. By visualizing, you generate positive emotions that anchor you in possibility. Each ritual adds another layer of strength, making it easier to overcome negativity when it arises. Ultimately, overcoming negative feelings is about reclaiming power. Every time you choose a higher thought, you take back authority over your destiny. Every time you discipline your mind, you weaken the hold of fear and doubt. Every time you practice gratitude, you elevate your vibration and attract more of what you desire. Every time you focus on vision, you anchor yourself beyond the reach of temporary emotions. It is a process of training, of awareness, of deliberate choice, and with each repetition, the hold of negative feelings weakens and the strength of empowered emotions grows. Choice is the most powerful tool a human being possesses, and yet most people underestimate it. Every day, from the moment you open your eyes, you are faced with a stream of choices: what to think, what to believe, what to focus on, how to respond, what to say, what to feel. Many assume that life is something happening to them, a series of events out of their control. But the truth is that life is shaped by the choices you make moment by moment. Responsibility begins when you realize that even though you cannot always control circumstances, you can always control your response to them, and that response determines your destiny. People with a poor mindset often give away their power by believing they are victims of life. They say things like, "I can't help how I feel, I can't change what's happening, I'm stuck because of my past, I'm limited because of my background." In doing so, they surrender the very power that could transform them, the power of choice. A rich mindset, on the other hand, accepts full responsibility. It says, "I may not control everything that happens, but I control how I think about it, how I use it, and what I do next." This acceptance of responsibility opens the door to growth, because once you claim responsibility, you also claim power. Responsibility is not a burden. It is the key that unlocks freedom. Every destiny is created by a series of choices, and those choices begin in the mind. When you choose to dwell on fear, you are choosing a path of hesitation and missed opportunities. When you choose to dwell on faith, you are choosing a path of bold action and unexpected possibilities. When you choose resentment, you are choosing to close yourself off from growth. When you choose gratitude, you are choosing to open doors that would otherwise remain closed. Each choice may feel small in the moment, but over time it builds a pattern, and that pattern becomes your life. It is easy to underestimate the power of daily mental choices, because the results are not always immediate. A single thought of doubt may not destroy your dreams today, and a single thought of belief may not manifest success tomorrow. But repeated choices compound. If you consistently choose doubt day after day, you weaken your confidence, you train your subconscious to expect failure, and you create habits that sabotage your progress. If you consistently choose belief day after day, you strengthen your confidence, you train your subconscious to expect success, and you create habits that carry you toward your vision. Choice is like a seed, invisible at first, but eventually growing into a tree that bears fruit either bitter or sweet, depending on what was planted. Taking responsibility for your choices also means letting go of excuses. Excuses are the language of the poor mindset, the justification for staying small. Excuses say, "I would succeed if only I had more money, more time, more support, better luck." But excuses rob you of progress, because as long as you place the cause of your results outside yourself, you also place the solution outside yourself. The rich mindset eliminates excuses by declaring, "I am responsible. If I want a different result, I must make a different choice." This way of thinking does not guarantee instant success, but it guarantees progress, because responsibility always creates momentum. Every moment presents a fork in the road. One path leads to growth, the other to stagnation. The choice may be as simple as how you interpret a challenge. A poor mindset interprets a challenge as a sign to stop. A rich mindset interprets a challenge as a chance to grow stronger. The situation is the same, but the choice of interpretation creates entirely different outcomes. Another fork in the road appears when you fail. A poor mindset chooses to see failure as final. A rich mindset chooses to see failure as feedback. That single choice determines whether failure becomes the end of the road or simply a stepping stone toward success. Taking responsibility for your choices also means taking responsibility for your inner world. You cannot always choose the weather outside, but you can choose the weather inside. You can choose whether your mind is stormy with fear and worry or calm with faith and clarity. This inner weather is what influences your actions, your decisions, and the way others respond to you. People are drawn to those who radiate calm strength, and they are repelled by those who radiate chaos and negativity. By choosing your inner state deliberately, you attract relationships and opportunities that match it. The rich mindset knows that the future is not written, it is chosen. Every person has the ability to rewrite their story by choosing new beliefs, new actions, new habits. If your past is filled with pain, you can choose to carry it as a weight, or you can choose to use it as fuel. If your present feels limited, you can choose to accept it as permanent, or you can choose to see it as temporary. If your environment seems against you, you can choose to surrender, or you can choose to rise. The choice is always yours, and with every choice you make, you are shaping the next chapter of your destiny. The discipline of choice means living deliberately instead of reactively. Most people live in reaction, letting their feelings, circumstances, and habits dictate their behavior. They drift waiting for something outside them to change, but those who master choice live deliberately. They wake up and choose their thoughts, they choose their focus, they choose their energy, they choose their actions. Even when they stumble, they choose to get back up. Even when they doubt, they choose to redirect their thoughts. Even when they feel fear, they choose to move forward anyway. This is the ultimate difference between the rich and poor mindset. One believes choice is limited, the other knows choice is infinite.